Hi there! Over the years, computer hardware has evolved, new processor models have been released and new versions of Windows along with their subversions have been introduced. Each version differs in some way from the others. Additionally, there are different editions: professional, home, enterprise, and so on. How do you navigate all this and make the right choice? I've decided to create a guide that will help you choose the best Windows version for your PC, ensuring optimal performance and capabilities. Leave a comment right away what version of Windows are you currently using and why. Subscribe to the channel and let's get started. And by the end, you might consider whether it's time to switch your Windows version. To determine the best version, we will go through several key criteria and create selection tables. And the first one is compatibility with your processor. Every Windows version has minimum processor requirements. On the other hand, it also has a support lifecycle. If your processor was released after Windows version support and updates ended, it will no longer be officially supported. Of course, this doesn't mean that if you have a different processor, Windows won't install. It might not install or it might work just fine. However, the chances of reduced performance and suboptimal efficiency are quite high. The processor is the brain of your computer, determining its overall performance, compatibility with other components, and supported technologies. That's why processor compatibility is crucial. How to apply this? I suggest this approach. Find out the year your processor was released. The release year is a good indicator of the technologies it supports. Then, check which Windows versions officially support processors from that year. I've prepared a table for this. I won't mention Windows XP, I doubt you'd want to work on such old PCs. Windows 7 and 8.1 officially do not support processors released after Skylake, while extended support lasted until 2023. It was mainly security updates. I wouldn't recommend using Windows 7 on a PC newer than 2020 and would suggest keeping it only for systems from 2016 or earlier. The same applies to Windows 8.1. It wasn't as popular and functioned alongside Windows 7. Windows 10 supports processors released from 2015 and officially doesn't support processors beyond 2020. Although security updates will stop in 2025, not all processors from 2020 to 2025 will work well on Windows 10. Most of them will, but not as reliably and quickly as with Windows 11, because Microsoft focused on optimizing the latter during those years. Windows 11 requires processors from 2017 or later due to TPM2 and security requirements. This includes Intel 8th generation and AMD Ryzen 2000 and newer. However, in the 24H2 update, support for some processors was removed, and now only models from 2020 onward are officially supported. This is our first key factor. Not the only one, but an important one if you want good compatibility between Windows and your processor. That said, you can still test performance outside of official support, especially if you have borderline processor models from 2020 to 2021. The second, compatibility with graphics tasks. If your PC has a dedicated graphics card and you use it for gaming or professional tasks, this is another factor to consider. Not all graphics cards and DirectX versions are supported across all Windows versions. Here's another table. As you can see, this aspect is a bit simpler but still has nuances. Windows 10 supports nearly all options. However, if you have the latest generation graphics card, Windows 11 would be a better choice. Windows 7, loved by many, is suitable if your graphics card falls within the supported range. The third, system resource usage. By resources, I mean your PC's capabilities, including how fast your processor is and how much RAM you have, both of which are limited resources that Windows manages to allocate among running programs. For example, consider two processors, Intel Core i7 8086 and Intel Core i3 10100. There is a 2-year difference between them, but the older one is significantly more powerful. Both are supported by Windows 11 and Windows 10 should also run well on them. How to decide in this case? If your computer is powerful and you see that resources are sufficient, everything runs quickly enough, you can continue using your current system. If you notice that resources are limited and you want a performance boost, try optimizing resources usage. How to do this? One option is to choose a Windows edition that is less resource intensive. Regarding versions, my tests show that Windows 10 and Windows 11 have no significant difference in CPU and RAM usage, provided you have the latest updates installed. However, background applications and services play a role. This depends on the Windows edition and subversion. For example, comparing Windows 11 Pro and Home, there won't be much difference, but Home will have slightly fewer running background services. Some users prefer the Enterprise edition, especially LTSC or IoT, as it is harder to activate but has fewer built-in programs and services, making it lighter. The subversion also matters. Comparing Windows 11 21H2 and 24H2, the latter has more built-in apps, making it more resource-intensive and intended for more powerful PCs. However, you can eliminate these issues if you know how to remove unnecessary built-in programs and services from Windows. For this, use my PC No Problems tool. Go through the built-in apps and remove what you don't use. Disable services that don't affect system stability. The program provides descriptions for each service and recommends what to do with it. In the paid version, you can simply check a list to disable unnecessary features and even turn off Windows Defender with one click, freeing up additional resources. Be careful with such tools and create a restore point before making changes. There are many other features, check them on my website, linked in description and first comment. By disabling unnecessary features, you can make any Windows edition light and fast. I've made separate videos about this. The first version of the tool was covered earlier and now version 2 is out. This is a great way to optimize your system for a weaker PC. And the fourth, personal preferences. Friends, personal preferences is also an important factor. As I've mentioned, I've done many tests on this channel and recently Windows 10 and 11 have little difference in performance. In such cases, your choice depends on your own tastes. Think, which Windows design do you prefer? Which settings interface do you find more convenient? If all the above criteria suit you, pick the version that feels right for you. Leave a comment on what you choose. I'd love to read your thoughts. If you also include your PC's key specs, that would be even more interesting. I think that wraps up this topic. Let's discuss the rest in the comments.